New tonight, a man who served as associate athletic director at Midland University changed his plea to reduce charges. Records show Stephen Hyman pled guilty to 2 amended misdemeanor charges, including third-degree sexual assault. Hyman was arrested in a sexual assault case in May of last year. Prosecutors accused Hyman of assaulting a woman at his home in October of 2023 after giving her sleeping pills. Following the charges, a spokesperson for Midland University said Hyman was put on administrative leave. He is not listed as an employee on the university's website.